I'm Jesse Fortune, and this is the Epic Art Quest. And this week we are in Newport Beach, California, visiting with Phil Roberts. And this is Phil's studio. And Phil, would you like to tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah.
Your start, anyway?
Yeah, well, God, I started when I was super young. I'm drawing cars since I was 5, and then, learned how to do caricatures from Mad Magazine and Jack Davis, when I was a young kid. And I actually made a living doing that through high school. I grew up on the, coastline of Florida, in the surf town of Melbourne. And, was raised in the surf industry there, basically.
So you found that surfing was an immediate muse for your artwork and your launching point for your career?
Yeah, I started surfing when I was 13, and you get addicted, and you fall in love with it, and I hung out with surfers, and then that's where all the girls are anyway.
Perfect.
Yeah, draw waves, draw girls.
Do you have an example of that work, that early work?
Yeah, for example, I was fortunate enough. I started doing surfboards. At the age of 15, I was painting surfboards, and immediately got a job with the East Coast Legends, which were, Mike Tabling and Dick Cattree and Donnie Mulhern, and then that led to getting into the surf magazines. With all the illustration work I did, and then I ended up doing, this advertisement for Sundeck Surfwear, which are all the caricatures of the East Coast Legends.
Awesome.
And it was funny. Kelly Slater was all over this on Instagram just this past week, just going, this is this person, this is that person, and
Old schooling it.
this painting is actually lost, and we're in a dire search to find it because Kelly wants this in his collection.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah. So, but this painting led to doing this cover for Surfer Magazine.
Nice. And would you say that this was your first big break as an artist?
Yeah, this is an enormous break because this went worldwide.
Yeah.
And I was only 21 years old.
How'd that feel?
You don't get it.
Right.
You're like, oh, cool, I'm on the cover of Surf Magazine, and it's
Popping the collar a little bit.
Girls will call you up for a date,
Uh-huh.
but you don't get the impact of it.
Mm-hmm.
But up until recently, this is only the 4th cover illustrated by anybody for the cover of Surfer. 2 of them were John Severson, who started the magazine. One was Rick Griffin, the legendary Rick Griffin, and me.
That's great.
And but they just recently did a new cover that was illustrated.
And from the Surfer magazine work, did that lead then directly into something else, or did it help? Help
Yeah, it's one of those Shirley Temple stories. Yeah, because it was picked up by an art director on Hollywood and Vine at a newsstand right there off the side of the street. Picked up that magazine.
Caught her eye,
and it was exactly what she was looking for, to do a comedy ski movie called Hot Dog.
Yeah.
She tracked me down. I was in a beach apartment in Florida, and I got my first movie poster job.
Awesome.
Which was Hot Dog.
Old school.
And I beat out Mort Drucker and Jack Davis for the gig.
How'd that feel?
Exactly.
In a rival moment?
Like, my heroes that I learned to do caricatures from, the guys that I, just emulated and adored, and I kicked their butt.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap.
you have arrived.
I have arrived, yeah. And that led to a 35-year movie poster career.
And in that span, can you tell us some of the highlights, like your favorites? So you've done a lot of them, but there's got to be some ones that stand out to you, maybe that were more fun, or end up being bigger hits in the movie theater.
Oh yeah, well, it was right place, right time. I lined up with exactly the right people. So, that art director said, if you ever wanted a job, come to Hollywood, look me up. And that's what I did. The first posters that she put me on was A Sure Thing with John Cusack, Goonies, and I designed the Goonies, and then A View to a Kill, James Bond.
Nice. So you went Bond and legendary kids.
Yeah,
movie.
and all the preliminary sketches I did for Bond are now in a traveling museum show in Germany.
That's awesome.
In a James Bond exhibition.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else do you want, right?
Yeah, well, it's led to a wonderful career where I get to work with top-notch people. So, my most popular posters are like Detroit Rock City, where Gene Simmons was doing the movie with New Line Cinema, and he just, called me up because his wife, Shannon Tweed, was in the hot dog poster.
Unforgettable.
That was her first movie.
That's great.
She was so stoked that she's in her husband's movie, and I get to do her husband's poster, and so.
Awesome. Is there any movies you're working on currently, or like what's your current market as far as, you said you were in the right place at the right time, but obviously it's led to continued success.
Yeah, now, posters aren't so much illustrated by hand any longer. It's all done by computer. I saw the computer coming in the 90s and completely take over, and it just changed how business was done there. But fortunately, they still need me as a designer in doing all the concepts of laying out the posters. So the majority of my work now is animation films. Just finished working on Angry Birds for next year, Ice Age 5.
That's great.
And
you've been involved with most of the Ice Age movies?
I've done every one.
From the original
from the beginning.
Concepts.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then, do you find that having worked in the movie poster, like you said, it was old school, full-blown illustration, and now like it's being eventually animated, do you find it changes like your actual like style? Or obviously your style is gonna evolve naturally, but do you see it's like skewing in a particular direction, or good, bad, or indifferent?
Well, I've embraced painting digitally, and there's always still a need for good painting, and good design. And
regardless of the tool.
No matter what your tools are, you still have to have solid basics.
Hear that, kids? Spoken from a master.
And the computer is just another tool.
Well said.
The movie poster, the horror movie poster genre, which I've gotten into recently, even though those look hand painted, those two posters were done digitally, and you can't tell. One looks like old school airbrush. And that's what I wanted to do, was recreate that 1970s airbrush look, but it was all digital.
That's great. It gives you the full range. You got the old school pencil drawing from start all the way to now the most contemporary tool.
Yeah, some posters I'll actually pencil draw, old school airbrush, scan it, put it in, and then digitally paint it.
So now it's a whole deal.
Yeah,
king caboodle.
Yeah, so I've combined all the technicalities to it.
So it's great that you seem to be.
It's still you got to have solid design and knowledge of lighting, and how to make it in color, and on how to make a solid poster.
Nice.
So
cool.
I'm trying to keep that
I
alive.
So Phil, you alluded earlier that you obviously started in the surf industry, but now you're still obviously working in the surf industry, having done any number of trophy designs to painting the boards. It's
funny to be around long enough to actually see your entire career come around full cycle. It's kind of weird,
Yeah.
Because I was really big in the 80s, and for all of my caricature work and editorial pieces and illustrations that I did, and then I was old school in the 90s, completely dead, gone, done. So then I had to change my style, so I got into science illustrations, and that's when I did all the National Geographic style science breakaway illustrations of all the surf breaks around the world and how scientifically they worked, which gave me a whole nother career.
That's awesome. That's great adaptability.
Yeah. And that led to actually designing and inventing water theme parks. But now, 30 years later, my entire surfing career has completely come back around, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's bring Phil back. He's cool. He's retro." And he's still alive.
That's great. Yeah.
He's still trying. Who knows how old I am? Cool. And but I had to evolve and keep growing, and to do so, I took my career into painting surfboards. That went full cycle around. I was doing it when I was 15. Now I'm painting and making the most prestigious, trophy surfboard, for the entire World Surfing League, which is the Pipe Masters Trophy.
Nice.
and it's the most coveted surfboard that you can win. And it's, you know, they're valued at $20,000 once, you know, somebody picks one up.
And how many years have you made that?
I've made it's my 8th year, I think,
Nice.
8th or 9th year.
So now they're more highly coveted.
Yeah, the only way to get one is you have to win pipe.
Oh man.
You know?
Yeah, which if you're even in pipe, you're already kind of winning. But,
Yeah.
man, the best of the best.
And then I turned to sculpture. You know, to just continually keep evolving. I've always been a sculptor, but now I've got, you know, now I'm making all the major trophies, you know, for all the events during the year. And I just finished doing a life-size bronze of that photograph
That's great.
of Dewey Weber doing that famous 22nd Street cutback shot by Leroy Granis. And now it's a life-size bronze, and the unveiling's in 2 weeks in the city of Hermosa Beach.
So you gotta be excited about that.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the
Yeah.
prelims online, and you have
Yeah.
something here. you're
Yeah, and
working
this is, you know, what I'm currently working on, which is this is going to be the Surfer Pull Award for this year. So it's a sculpture version of Phil Edwards, you know, doing his famous cutback in 1964 on a longboard. You know, and then this is the mock-up for the stand base that it goes on, and
Excellent.
I'll be, you know, making a mold on that and casting it and making it look like bronze, and
That's great.
That's what it'll be
Will it be
in.
that size?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's cool.
Yeah, so Surf Magazine wanted to go old school and you know,
Retro's cool again.
retro's cool again, so they got me to sculpt this up for them.
No, thanks for showing us your current piece. Going forward in 2016, now that you're old school and contemporary,
Yeah.
What project do you look forward to the most? Be it a movie, surf industry, either one.
You know, movies I'll always do just for the fun of it.
Sure.
You know, it's good bread and butter, and now I just do it because it's a blast, it's fun, and you know, I don't know, I can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll keep doing that as long as they have me.
Is there something out of left field that you're like, oh, dude, this new
Well-
thing, like the water park thing? I had no
Yeah,
idea.
no, I-
That's wild.
I have an artificial wave machine designed that I want to make, you know, so I just need to
Let's work on that in the background.
raise the funds for that.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see if
but
we
then-
can help you out with that.
the sculpture thing, it has, you know, kind of taken off.
Nice.
So I think my job now is going to be, you know, sculpting the legends.
That's great.
You know, doing life-size bronzes. You know, my next is going to be Greg Knoll for Manhattan Beach, Robert August for Huntington Beach,
So you can just dot the
and-
West Coast with your work.
and then
Pay
and then
homage.
Jerry Lopez, you know, for the pipe,
Oh, wow.
you know, for Hawaii, and then I'd like to do Mark Richards for Australia. So, you know, I've always been doing portraits of people.
Mhm.
You know, that's just my core love is
Yeah.
drawing the figure, and you know, and it's nice that I was doing cartoons, then I can paint them realistic and I can draw them, and you know, I've got 35 years of drawing every movie star there ever was,
Huh.
and you know, now I want to bring that into surfing, and now, you know, I am the sculptor for surfing.
Good work. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Boom.
Cool.
So it's
Great.
nice. I still have a career.
Cool. Yeah. Well, excellent. Thanks
Yeah.
for taking the time with us today on the Epic Art Quest, Phil.
Sure,
It's
absolutely.
been a pleasure speaking with you and learning more about your career.
Yeah.
We'll put your website, philroberts.com,
Yeah.
and your Instagram handle,
Phil Roberts Art.
Phil Roberts Art, and Instagram. We'll put that on this week's episode. So now that we've learned more about your studio, what about your town? I'm a plein air artist. I'm here in town to paint a plein air piece, which I'm gonna try to not only make but sell on location.
Yeah.
And in order to increase my odds, usually there's places where maybe both tourists and locals like, especially in a place like this in Newport. But what would you recommend, or where specifically would you think I could have some success
Yeah,
in making a decent piece?
You know, Newport Beach, you know, it's an interesting place. It's a surf city, but you know, then there's the ultra wealthy class that's here, and I feel like some of the city's lacking a little bit of an identity, but there's some really amazing treasure spots, you know, especially with old architecture that's here that's just kind of, people just drive right on by. I think the Fisherman's Shack off of Balboa Pier right here,
Mm-hmm.
it's been around forever. You know, and you catch that on an early morning when it's kind of foggy and the fishermen are coming in with their catch of the day. It's still old world fishing, still happening in a very, you know, elite town where, you know, you'll see a Ferrari at every stoplight.
Right. So we'll go with
And then there's
the-
also right underneath the bridge, at the where the back bay comes in from Newport Harbor.
Mhm.
There's a tiny little fishing shack right there that's floating.
Yeah,
know,
I saw like bait. It's a big
Yeah, it's a
barge.
little bait place.
Cool.
You just drive on right by it.
Yeah.
But it's so old.
Yeah, and seemingly not going to last for long.
No.
The way development's going around here.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's got so much character.
Well, that's two great suggestions. I look forward to going out and you know, I'll make one of those pieces.
Yeah, cool.
And I look forward to showing it to you. But thanks
All
for
right.
the tip and thanks for the interview.
Awesome.
Dory. We appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
right.
Thanks for coming by.
I'm Jesse Fortune, and this is the Epic Art Quest. We got a chance to visit Phil Roberts in the studio. Local artist and legendary artist Phil Roberts suggested that if I were going to do plein air in Newport Beach, that he would suggest coming down to one of the few remaining historical sites in Newport Beach, which is the Dory fishing fleet. Little stand here where you can buy fresh fish, and it's also known as Blackie's for all the surfers. And we also have the pier over here. So what I'm going to do is try to use my landscape artistic license and bend the perspective a bit to where I can get not only the Dory fishing fleet, but maybe a wave on the right and then maybe the pier on the left. So we'll see how it comes out, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. energy, a lot of components. But you can see where the sky is going to be. You can see the ocean, and then our main subject matter is actually going to be pretty near the middle, even though I'm not a big fan of dead center, but seems to line up pretty good. So give me a couple more hours and we'll be on our way. We're about halfway through this painting. I'm literally, I'd say about 50%. I'm painting the Dory fishing fleet sign. It's a historic landmark here in Newport Beach, California, at the Newport Beach Pier. I like to use an analogy of running track. So I've already done my first few laps around this painting. I've established the sky, 2 buildings, and the main sign. So now every lap I go, I'll grab an element and start dialing it in. So I'll finish my trees, I'll finish the building, I'll finish the sign, finish the little wave over here. And everything now will come up and be refined. Everything will be more refined as I go. It'll be like a layered effect. But I like the way it's coming along so far, and I can't wait to show you how it finishes up. So what I like to do towards the end of the piece, I learned this summer that if there's a specific focal point, which in this case is the Dory fishing fleet signage and the boat, that it can be kind of more focused and everything else can kind of fall away. So these 2 exterior buildings here, they're purposely left a little bit rough shot, and they're kind of antique-y anyway, so that really helps the aesthetic. So I'm leaving everything else really loose, and right now I'm just focusing on tightening up the main subject matter.